Every garbage day in HRM, a truck arrives to pick up your waste. The bags are out at the curb. Today, that old line, taking out the trash, has a whole new meaning. We all have a role to play to make Halifax's solid waste resource strategy work. And it starts every time we drop something into the garbage. When that happens, do you ever wonder where it goes? Before the truck even arrives, the sorting begins. Things like styrofoam are definitely garbage. The green bag is the popular choice for trash. From your curb, to when the truck arrives, to when the garbage is tossed in, to when the truck moves on, your garbage begins a journey that ends at the Otter Lake landfill. At the landfill, it starts an incredible trip that winds its way through one of the most technologically advanced waste processing and disposal facilities in the world. Once there, your trash is inspected, separated, and screened. The goal is to isolate the dry waste from the wet. Anything wet is removed, leaving garbage that is stable or inert. This method reduces complaints sometimes associated with landfills, like pests and birds. It also controls the effect our trash is having on the environment. The Otter Lake site is owned by HRM and is more than 200 acres, about the size of 66 soccer fields. It's located 10 minutes from downtown Halifax in the Timberley area. It was opened in 1999 and operates 6 days a week, 24 hours a day. About 100 people work here. The first stop for all garbage is at the scale house. Trucks stop here and are weighed before proceeding to the tipping or receiving floor. This is the first stage of the front-end processor, or FEP. At this stage, the garbage is inspected. Loaders move across the floor, ripping garbage bags open. Workers look for large items and remove them right away. They keep an eye on finding anything that is hazardous to machinery or workers down the line. At this stage, bulky items like mattresses and couches are also removed. We'll catch up with those later. Every day, the tip floor can handle anywhere from 400 to 750 tons of material. That equals about 200 garbage trucks a day. Garbage is moved from piles onto the walking floor, where a conveyor slowly moves material toward the next step in the process. Through a process of conveyor belts, bag breakers, and trommel screens, the facility sorts your garbage. From the conveyor belt, workers look over the waste for items like 2x4s, rope, or sheets of plastic. Crews look for anything that could jam the machines or cause an explosion. At this point, hazardous materials such as small propane cylinders are also removed. Any type of explosive or hazardous material does not belong in the garbage. Sooner or later, every garbage bag in HRM reaches the bag breaker. Like a hungry hippo, the bag breaker chews through your garbage. Bag after bag rolls through the breaker's jaw, where teeth rip them open. This allows workers to further inspect materials inside the bag. From the bag breaker, the next stage is a trip through the trommel screens. These huge steel drums, like those found in a clothes dryer, spin and turn, moving the waste over screens. The cylindrical drums have dozens of 6-inch and 2-inch holes in them. The smaller holes allow organics to fall through directly. This wet waste travels to the building next door. Anything 6 inches or smaller goes to the shredder. Before it arrives, workers use hand trowels and tools to remove any metal or beverage containers. A conveyor belt takes the material to be shredded. The shredder reduces this material to smaller pieces. This increases the amount of surface area for quicker decomposing. Safety is key whenever a machine is clean. Clean machines help the facility to operate smoothly. All machines are cleaned daily. The shredder is cleaned twice a day. The final step of the FEP deals with garbage that doesn't make it through the trommel screen. As you can see, at this point, materials like paper and plastic are left. Workers pull recyclable items off the conveyor and drop them into bunkers. From there, they're baled for recycling markets. Almost 50% of what ends up at Otter Lake should be recycled at home. When it reaches this step, a lot of it is soiled and can't be recycled. The garbage then travels on a conveyor before going through a chute where it loads into a truck. The landfill operation is watched by a neighborhood community monitoring committee. The group meets regularly to monitor activities and discuss operations. Community involvement is a key part of the success of the Otter Lake landfill. Volunteers make sure the work done here is top-notch. It is worth mentioning that the facility draws admirers from around the world. Closer to home, the facility does everything it can to be a good neighbor. Remember the wet stuff that dropped through the trommel screens at the FEP? It arrives here at the Waste Stabilization Facility, or WSF, for the next stage. A corkscrew auger moves the 2-inch pieces over before being transferred. A loader is continually picking up a pile and moving the screened material into one of 14 200-yard-long bays. For the next 19 to 21 days, an agitator travels along the top of each bay, regularly flipping the material 10 feet at a time. This speeds up the decomposing process and stabilizes any wet waste that enters the landfill. Each of the bays is equipped with railroad tracks for the agitator to travel along. Fans under the floor aerate the rows and water is added to make the stabilization process work. This material is hot. It must be over 55 degrees Celsius to decompose properly. Sensors monitor the temperature to ensure that standard is met. At any one time, more than 2,000 tons of material is in the waste stabilization facility. After 3 weeks, the WSF material is moved. It drops onto a walking floor and runs up 3 conveyor belts before being top-loaded into a truck. The truck will proceed to the final step. By the end, what's left over looks a bit like the fluff you get out of your dryer. This fluff will not smell and it will not attract birds. It will also stop decomposing. From the waste stabilization facility, 4 large fans draw the air out of the building and into the biofilter. The biofilter is located right next to the waste stabilization facility. A network of pipes takes the air out of the WSF and blows it through the bark mulch. A special bacteria feeds on the bark mulch to absorb any odors. This is a natural process that ensures Otter Lake is the best neighbor it can be. Any water collected from the biofilter is also treated. The landfill also has an area for metal goods. HRM's metal ends up here. Metals from the tip floor are stored on site until the scrap metal dealer comes by to collect it for recycling. The old washing machine or stove that you put curbside is picked out on the tipping floor and sent directly here for recycling. In all, about 2,500 tons a year is separated for metal recycling. The residual disposal facility is the actual landfill part of Otter Lake. It's the place that most often comes to mind when people think of a typical or old-fashioned garbage landfill. But, as you've seen, the Otter Lake way of processing waste is anything but old school. Right now, 9 cells make up Otter Lake's residual disposal facility. Today's waste is filling cell number 5. The cell will take 3 to 4 years to fill. Trucks carrying the fluff-like waste go all day long. A compactor bulldozer flattens the waste to conserve space and to get the most out of the cell. Those bulky materials from the front-end processor we saw earlier also go into the landfill cell. During the day, waste is covered by a shredded wood mix from construction and demolition sites. This step anchors the waste and keeps it from blowing around. Each cell requires systems for leachate and methane gas collection, as well as 2 high-density plastic liners. These measures are all part of provincial government requirements that ensure the landfill follows strict measures to protect the environment. Sedimentation ponds have also been constructed to collect surface water that runs off. Moisture from rainfall produces leachate. That liquid is collected through pipes and stored in tanks on site before being trucked to a wastewater treatment facility off-site. Landfills produce greenhouse gases like methane. A system collects the methane and then flares it off. This reduces odors and cuts the methane to carbon dioxide, a less harmful greenhouse gas. Otter Lake's waste is stable, so a lower amount of methane gas is produced. Having this type of organic-free landfill means very few birds ever visit Otter Lake. Otter Lake's 9 cells are expected to last about 25 years, taking us to 2024. That translates to 3.5 million tons of trash during that time. Once a cell is full, it's capped. Each cell contains from 380,000 to 480,000 tons of material. A cell fills up every 3 to 4 years. It costs $21 million to cap a cell and build a new one. The enormous cost of each cell means the less waste we produce, the less money we spend. Because the faster we fill them, the faster we have to build them. The old idea of a garbage dump is a long way from what goes on at Otter Lake. But to stay a world leader in protecting the environment, all this work is definitely not a waste of time.